The east may finally warm up after a very, very frigid past couple weeks and snowy, as the west will continue to experience activity in terms of the weather, and it does look like it will cool down a little bit over there in the west. So basically a pattern flip is what we are expecting. So let's get right into it. So let's start out with satellite imagery, as we usually do. I feel like it highlights features pretty well. Been a while, but we're back on the weekly uploading schedule. And honestly, the weather's been pretty stale. I mean, it's been cold east, warmer west. I wouldn't say warm, but warmer west. And tranquil, above average in the west, below average in the east. And it looks like a pattern change is on the way. So we'll start out with just satellite imagery again. And it doesn't really show that picture, really. It just shows kind of the clouds, the energy around, big upper level low off the west. We always have upper level low, by the way. Just gonna keep that, almost always. Some little high clouds over in the desert southwest, mid-south, deep south. Nothing much. Over in the east, this is all snow cover, by the way, where you see kind of this white. This is all snow cover. Some higher clouds working its way in, as we do have a little clipper that could make its way through and actually drop some interesting snow totals for portions of New England, including southern New England. So we'll talk about that. Better way to get a look at the features. Here we are. Your big low, well off. Can't really see. It's always off the screen. A little bit of a low off the coast of California. A low over here in north central U.S. and one in western Kentucky. This is the low we're watching. This is what's going to dive down south and east. We're going to get a kind of spread of snow in this area. Maybe we get some flakes down to New York City, but that's about it. So we'll watch that, and then we'll watch any additional features behind that. This will bring a little bit of moderation after it passes through, believe it or not. A little bit of cold and then moderation. So here, let's go back real quick. I don't know if I can kind of go. I want to see if I can show you guys. Okay, so before we kind of get into everything, pattern flip wise, it's been a while and it's kind of, pretty much secured. So if we were to do Climate Prediction Center, we can look at the 6 to 10 day outlook. There it is. This is your 6 to 10 day outlook. Usually I do this at the end of the video, but we'll just get it out the way here. Troughing in the west. So you got a trough in the west, which is causing a below average, and then a big central ridge. So your heat, your warmest temperatures, or most above average temperatures, are right into the central U.S. Northeast will also warm up. However, you always have some sort of little troughing kind of hanging off the coast, so you can get some cooler, like backdoor cold fronts at times. This is 6 to 10 day. If we're going to 8 to 14 day, same basic connotation, where you got cooler temperatures in the west, warmer central and east. There's kind of like your little troughing backdoor cold front kind of signal right here with the near normal. So we'll watch this area right here. You can always have some return flow behind it, so we'll watch that. But it won't be, when you see these bright reds, okay, it doesn't mean it's gonna be warm or hot. It's gonna be above average. Okay, it's still winter. You can still have winter weather threats with this, so just keep that in mind as we go through the rest of this video and into the future. So let's look at the National Weather Service alerts and indices. So right here, some red flag warnings. So fire concerns over here, some flood watches actually in the eastern part of Nebraska. Winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings in higher elevations of California, Sierra Mountains, and over here in Montana and Wyoming. South coast, Gulf Coast, you have some dense fog advisories, and then here up in the east this is right here. The string of winter weather advisories are all associated with that incoming clipper system. So let's talk about the RGEM. Okay, first model I kind of want to look at. Here it comes. This is your clipper right here. Nice swath of snow. This coming afternoon time tomorrow. You'll start seeing it come in the evening. There it is. Starts really getting together. So this will stick. It'll be plenty cold for snow. And then kind of that front's a little moderate. So moderates ahead of it ish, and then you get a front. So what we do have to watch further south is this kind of string. I feel like the Canadians, RGEM's portraying it pretty well. You have to watch this kind of string of precipitation. Okay, this is what's gonna kind of swing through portions of the mid-Atlantic that don't actually get hit with the Clipper kind of directly. But what's interesting about this is that moderation period through here, it actually warms up the surface temperatures. Okay, warms it up, and so with the warming of the surface temperatures, you get more of a freezing drizzle kind of look through here. Okay, because you have warmer temperatures above your head, but you have some colder temperatures at the surface, okay, at or below freezing, so right in this area. So that could create, it'll only be a couple hours, but it could create some slick conditions. This does come overnight, though, and it's a quick hit before it's out. We'll watch how aggressive that is. RGEM is most aggressive as right now. Some models, like the NAM, doesn't even have it. But Boston, for example, nice hit of snow, 8 to 9. Once you get towards midnight, that's where you could have your heaviest. It is out, though, before sun even comes up, so most of the snow falls while you're sleeping, except for the evening. You'll probably catch a couple flakes. So if we're looking at snowfall, ratios will be higher than this, by the way. So here, I don't know, I forgot the Kuchera. NAM has Kuchera. Okay, so kind of on the fly, we can see the 18Z, 18Z, HRRR, 10 to 1. Okay, so just can't find Kuchera right now. But this is your general snow zone. We can just use HRDPS. Kuchera, please? No? Okay. So we'll just use HRDPS. So here it is. Through here in New England. So I'm trying to find. We have to have it somewhere. Okay. You know what? We'll just sorry for trying. GFS might have it. Hold on. GFS does not have it. Okay. So we'll just stay with the HRDPS. So basically, here, I like this model a lot. I feel like it portrays everything pretty well. See, it's not as aggressive, a little more broken, but you get snowfall in that area. We'll stick with RGEM because that's kind of what we start with. So total snowfall in there. Here it is. Main swath north of New York City, okay? But icing concerns, but I'd say in these areas. We'll have to watch. Could get closer to DC, but could be even just rain. We'll have to see. But it'll be pretty cold at the surface. But mainly north of New York City is where you get your main snow swath. Right in here, it's not going to be a big event, but Jackpot probably be in here. Boston, definitely in a good spot for an impactful snow, at least some plowable snow. So watch that. That moves on out by Wednesday morning. And then you get cold air entrenched. This is important, okay, because you get moderation ahead of it. So this is overnight. This is kind of overnight tonight. Okay, into Tuesday, throughout most of the day Tuesday, you get this warm air advection. Okay, it's kind of warm air advection induced mainly for these areas. You get rain, actually, so it's interesting. But you get warm air advection, but this kind of represents the pattern pretty well, with your warm air being kind of huddled right through here. You'll have some instances of an Arctic high here, keeping it colder. Okay, and so right here, it doesn't even matter how north you are. You can be up here, and you can get east. It's mixing or snow because of that colder air kind of sneaking in from the north and east, northeasterly winds. So what I'm trying to say, you get warm air advection, precipitation induced mainly on the southern flank here. This is more with Clipper energy, but you kind of get it through, and this shows it pretty well. I like this. Here, if you're in this area, this is all snow. We will have to watch southern New England coastal areas for any mixing. We'll have to watch that. Here is your freezing rain threat, and then for freezing drizzle, I'd argue, and then rain to the southwest because of warmer air being able to take over the surface. And then it's out. And then you get your colder air, which is going to be important for the next possible system. In the west, I feel like I haven't talked about the west. It's been pretty quiet, but we do have a storm, okay? It's been active in instances. When I said earlier in the video it's active, it's mainly in the mountains. Here you have a little low, some mountain snows, rain showers. Here we do actually have a low, though, moving on shore. This could bring some heavy rains and mountain snows through the evening time of Tuesday into daytime, early dawn on Wednesday. So we'll watch that, and that spins out. And then we watch, because this could become a downstream system. Let's talk about that on the Euro. So here's your European system model. There's your Clipper. Here's your low right here. Energy lingers from that low right there. Here it has it moving in really quick. You get that energy transfer south. You see that? This is your energy down here. Cold air is entrenched. Okay, this is an antecedent air mass. We're taking a sounding in New York City, for example. It's cold. It's 19 degrees. It's not. This is 10 a.m., so it's still pretty chilly. Not the chilliest we've seen it, obviously being in single digits, but it's cold, but it's fleeting. The high pressure is fleeting. So watch how rapidly that 540 line goes from northern South Carolina, 7 a.m. Friday 13th, go to 7 p.m. It's fleeting. Here, it's kind of fleeting slow, but then it really starts to fleet, okay? Gets north of D.C. by 4 a.m. Sunday, February 15th. Now you have a low pressure system. If you remember, if you recall, with the last storm, we had such a high... With the last storm, talking about that Miller B storm, that was big impactful from Texas all the way through the Northeast. We had this big high. It was like 1040 millibars, okay? 1040 millibars, just pushing cold air south. So you got snow all in this area, okay? And now, this high is what, 1028, I think? I'm trying to see it. 1026. 1026, and it's fleeting too. If it was 1026 and it stayed here, nice little snow event probably for the cities in north and west. Okay, at least starting out with a good amount of snow, but it's fleeting, so that means it's heading out. And if you do remember earlier this season, we had the same situation where it was fleeting, and so since it's kind of zooming out, there it is, 1020. It's intensifying, but it's heading out. So what you get when it's heading out, you get this warm air. Okay, warm air taking over. Let's take a DC sounding right here, 1 p.m., 39. It is marginal. Okay, this is what I would kind of expect as a first system. So it's just marginal throughout. It's not just the surface. Surface is warm, and freezing is up near 850. Go one more, and it's up near 800. So it's warm, just overall in the lower atmosphere. It's not some warm nose. It's just warm once you get below a certain height in the atmosphere. So there's your warm air. This low, it doesn't even track that bad. I mean, it would track for mixing either way if we did have that cold air in place, but it's not the worst track. Okay, 1,000 millibars, so it's not even it's not super strong, but this high is just not holding up. Okay, it's definitely some strong. It's definitely dynamic. Warm air advection. So your snow is super confined to the interior, like interior of interior. Even the Poconos struggle with rain. Okay, and warm air advection, and then it heads out, and then it wraps its way up, wraps colder air into the system. So even Boston could end with a thump of snow, but it's mainly Maine that gets into the goods. I do think this is warm. If this was a storm to happen, we can compare it to its AI counterpart, and look at the AI, for example. It's much more squashed. Okay, this could be a certain possibility as well. This time you have cold air, but it's suppressed. Talk about AI. Here, we'll go first GFS before we go to AI GFS. GFS, I kind of like the GFS's idea here. Your cold air is able to hold on a little more, 1032. You get some snow for the cities, mainly interior, before going to some light rain before it's out. I do kind of like the scenario a little more. I don't think it's going to be a big storm like the Euroshang. I could be wrong. AI GFS, very similar, I would say. If we were going to get the temperatures real quick, DC here, you're starting to get precipitation. Here, it's actually pretty mild. Okay, so you don't really get much. There, it's pretty mild on AI GFS. So, most, I'd say, warmer solutions. But again, still lots of model variancy. CMC is probably the coldest solution. There's your snow, cities, even southeast of some of the cities, 7 p.m. On Sunday. The earlier this comes, the colder it will be. So, and possibly more wintry. So there's your snow. DC starts to mix around overnight, Sunday night, and then it's over to rain by Monday morning. And it's close though. There's your snow line right over 95, and then a little warm air push before it's out. So this could be a plausible scenario too. So it's a lot of scenarios we have to watch. Okay, just for model's sake, let's go to Icon. This one, just a warm beast, okay? Interior, the track is also terrible. Just plows right through the interior. So, if this was something like the Icon or Euroshow, this would melt a lot of the snowpack. If it was something like the CMC showed, probably after that snow, it would probably melt some of the snowpack, but it wouldn't be as much of a kind of snowpack melter, so to speak. So, those are the models. what is kind of driving this? So here, this is kind of currently, there's your cold air. This is departing, by the way. This is cold air departing. There's your clipper, reinforces the cold air. This is what we're watching. Clipper is important because it shows how deep that cold air gets, okay? It's going to linger. It's the Tuesday and Wednesdays that will warm up, and it will stay not as cold. 2-meter temperatures. Here's 1 a.m. Like, you're getting above freezing. Your EPS is honestly pretty chilly with it. But here, let's go to 850. Wait, oh my gosh, I messed it up. 500, sorry. 500 millibar height anomalies. Here we are. So there's your kind of clipper reinforced. Here's a ridge. Okay, things I like, I'd say. You have a west base negative NAO. That's kind of right here. You have some sort of blocking, which prevents a absolute cutter track. So like icon, I don't know if icon's happening. That is just a cutter. But we're going to watch this block. If it's further up here, more cutter. Further south, you can probably get it to suppress a little more. Okay, in terms of if it was to gain latitude. You do have this ridge though, and you do have this blocking right here. What I don't like, it's fleeting. It's what means it's heading out. Atlantic ridging is there, sure. Gulf of Alaska low, sure, but not really much of a negative EPO. It's kind of breaking down. And here's your short wave, but with this ridge, it gets latitude quick. So then you need it to kind of stall out further south. So if we're going to the storm period, there it is. You get this, see this kind of how it's going out, and you get this ridging over the east. That's warm air direction well ahead of this storm. If this storm was, instead of being here, if it was faster and here by this point, you would get some nice wintry weather for the mid-Atlantic. But this storm is back here. Milder air is able to build and erode that colder air. And so most on the EPS, it does show some of a snow signal, mainly because that western base negative NAO up here pushes everything south, so it stays. You saw it kind of gained up through here and then kind of came further south. So that would lead to possibly more snow in these areas, mainly in the mid-Atlantic, interior mid-Atlantic. But I'm not saying the cities are ruled out. They're definitely not. But I'd favor interior just based off deterministic. But ensembles support interior as well, but at least some sort of wintry mix snow at onset at least is pretty plausible for the cities. We'll watch it though. After that though, definitely a warmer signal. It does get a little cloudy, but there's your southeast ridge. Maybe some of that kind of, this could support cold air damming events, but you do have a negative PNA, positive EP, negative EPO is backed off, and negative NAO very weak. So that's about it. Just wanted to talk about the pattern, the storm chances. Watch this clipper, see how the cold air establishes. There could also be no storm at all later in this into kind of Valentine's Day weekend, but we'll watch it. I'll keep you guys updated, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.